Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to MUFC versus everybody. I'm finding that ring light sometimes is just a little too bright and it's kind of washing out my face. What do you guys think? Is this a little better now that I've turned it down a little bit? It seems like there's enough light in here. Anyway, sorry about that. My name is Sean. I'm your host as always, and this is a Manchester United fan channel that is fan opinion first and always. My job is to just facilitate the conversation, throw out some topics, start the discussion, and get your guys' thoughts on the latest and greatest Manchester United news. And I'm happy to do that. You guys seem to be happy to do that as well. The community is growing, people getting involved, engaging with the content. I really like that. And I'm just appreciative. And honestly, I'm just happy and just it's exciting just to be able to sit and chat with other United fans from all over the world just about the club that we all love, the biggest club in the world. So if you're happy about that, if you're eager to get involved, go ahead and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel. Apologies in advance if I sneeze or if I sniff a lot. My allergies are really bad this morning, so it's going to be one of those kind of days today. It's really cold outside this morning, and I love it, but my nose doesn't. So anyway, welcome back. A few things to kick off today. Again, more going news than potential incoming news. Obviously, that Manuel Ugarte saga kind of rolls on. McTominay saga is kind of rolling on. We'll talk a little bit about that and a few other potential outgoings today, and a couple other odds and ends as will typically come up. First and foremost, though, so I was reminded yesterday. I was talking to my buddy Justin. Justin was supposed to be here for that award show, couldn't make it. Try to get him in maybe next weekend when I do my kind of transfer window rating video and maybe our season expectations video. So you guys might finally get to meet Justin. Talking to him a little bit yesterday on the phone about underrated United players throughout the years, right? I think because we were talking about McTominay still. Obviously, McTominay was Justin's pick for player of the season last season. McTominay has been a big topic of discussion in the news. Some people want him to leave. Some people want him to stay. Some people value what he brings to the club. Other people think that maybe he doesn't offer enough as a footballer. The arguments are all over the place. And I mean, either side is justified, right, and valid. They have valid points. And so it becomes down to, preference, really. And that's just usually what it is. Kind of like when people say they want center backs to be fast, or some people say they want center backs to be able to read the game. It's personal preference. So in any case, during that discussion, I was reminded about a question that I forgot to ask in the award show. It wasn't like a question for an award. It was just one of those random questions, like when we talked about, the preseason Pirlo Award or bringing back a former player. So the question was, what, in your opinion, who in your opinion is maybe one of United's most underrated players that we've had? A couple of names Justin and I were discussing, and that show is probably a enough show anyway. We didn't need another question, but some names got thrown out there. Park Ji-sung, Michael Carrick is one that I always lean to. My pick's actually probably a surprising pick for you guys, but got me thinking. So let me know in the comments. Let me know in the chat if you're in the channel today, just who maybe is one of your most underrated United players throughout our history, or as long as you've been watching. Maybe I'm sure people can probably throw out quite a few names. Ander Herrera, probably another one that I think goes under the radar a lot for just what he offered. So let me know. Did anybody catch the U21s match against Barnsley last night? What a showing from Jack Fletcher, obviously one of Darren Fletcher's sons, who was part of the under 21s. He came on as a sub in that second half and scored 2 goals, one of which was there. He had a brilliant long-range shot on the half volley from about 10 yards outside of the box. I think Ethan Ennis grabbed one as well. And I've not lied ever about not watching a ton of the youngsters. I just don't. I watch a lot of football as it is, and it's not that I don't care about the youngsters or the women's team for that matter. I probably watch more of the women's team than the youngsters. But I know Jack Fletcher is a highly rated amongst a lot of the fan base who do watch the academy. It was really cool to kind of see him in action finally. So it gives me hope. Like I said about Manu last year, the future does look bright. And I think with some of these youngsters coming through, your Amos, your Fletchers, your Colliers, things like that, I think the future does look bright. So let me know if you guys were able to catch that last night. So moving on to some transfer news, and obviously some of what you see in the thumbnail. Yesterday we got some interesting news from Laurie Whitwell, right? That United were currently not looking at signing a left back this summer. talk a little bit about that. Despite the injuries and the recovery time faced by both Luke Shaw and Tyrone Malacia, it doesn't seem like that was part of the plan right now, which is a little frustrating. Whether this was a proactive recruitment decision or a decision made simply due to a lack of funds, it's still unknown. It's anyone's guess. But either way, the decision, if true, it sufficiently pissed me off. I've said for months, left back should have been a priority. And I didn't say it needed to be the priority, but it needed to be a priority, not just to scramble for cover, but to plan, to have a proactive future plan for Luke Shaw. Again, these proper recruitment, proper signings, and building a club needs to be like playing pool. You can't just think about the next shot that's right in front of you. You need to plan a couple extra shots. Sometimes the obvious shot in pool is not the best shot to make because it doesn't leave you in the best position. And that's the way we need to look at things. Sounds like we're going to roll the dice, though, and prioritize the left back maybe next summer. At least coming from Muppeteers on Twitter. They say United want to see how this year goes and make a permanent purchase next year with admiration for Milos Kerkez, among others. Now, remember, we spoke yesterday. We were those tentative links to Kerkez and Rayan Aït-Nouri at Wolves. We've been linked to both throughout the summer and late last season. So we'll see what happens there. But I do think there are a few left backs. It probably doesn't look like we're going to be getting Ferdi Kadiolu, which is one of the biggest bummers of my life, but it is what it is. Irfane says, "Hi, Ugarte, here we go." Oh yeah, did we get it? Did we get it? Here we go. As I'm going live, or are you just messing with me? Let me see. So professional to do this live. I don't see any here we goes, man. Are you still talking loan with an obligation to buy? Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about that. So far, it's just a loan with an obligation to buy. Sounds like the option. We got some of that here we go yesterday. But let me know what you guys think about the left back situation. We'll probably do a video maybe later on in the season with a kind of a fresh left back target videos, mostly as our new priority positions become clearer over the year, kind of like I did last season. I'll probably do a series of videos on targets that either we've been linked with or targets I'd like us to look at for those videos. So keep a lookout for those. Irfane says he left back. Yes, I need Kvaratskhelia. You want Kvaradona? I mean, who doesn't want Kvaradona, right? I'll talk a little bit about winger targets towards the end of this video because I have one that I want you guys to watch today. Irfane says Ugarte is coming. Here we go. Hopefully, we'll see, man. I like Ugarte a lot. I know we need a ball-winning midfielder, someone who can come in and kind of partner Manu in the long term, and then as Casemiro can get rotated in and out. Problem with Casemiro, if we bring in Ugarte, and I'm not saying this is a reason not to sign Ugarte, but the problem with Casemiro in general is that he needs to play to get the rust off, to get his fitness. He can't sit and not play because it's only going to take him that much longer to get back up and running. And we've seen that over time when he's come back from an injury or when he's come back from suspension. He needs several games to kind of get back up to speed, and he's just that kind of player. People think that maybe because he's older, he can't play a lot, when it's actually the exact opposite. Casemiro needs to play to maintain fitness and stay at that peak level. And so same with Bruno. We saw Bruno was a little rusty in the last few games just because he hasn't been playing. So Bruno needs to play. It's all about momentum for these guys. Irfane says, I watch a lot of videos. He's a monster. Yeah, I like Ugarte a lot. But let me know what you think about left backs. Is it something we should be prioritizing? Is it something that we really should have done something about this window? Because this is, again, same situation we were in last summer with left backs. And we'll talk more about future targets in another video. Sticking with those future plans, though, so Italian journalist Alfred Paduglia, so remember we've been speaking about him throughout the summer. He's been pretty active in transfer news. So he reports that United executives were present at the Atalanta headquarters yesterday. While the main objective was to sort out some details relating to Rasmus Højlund's move last year, so still wrapping up, the structure of those payments probably and things like that, they also asked for information about the Brazilian midfielder Ederson. We have been linked with Ederson in the past. A lot of people really look like they're interested in him. Reportedly, the relationship between the two clubs is great. We have signed a few players from them, Ahmad, Rasmus Højlund, things like that. And that's a bonus for us. It's always nice when you can have a good relationship with clubs. It makes things a lot easier. And it kind of gives you a little bit of a pipeline sometimes. Not the way some clubs do it, where they basically have like these feeder clubs, but it's good to have a relationship. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with feeder clubs, but it's good to have just an organic relationship with clubs as well. I think it's something, in an age where everybody's kind of looking out for themselves, everybody's trying to just get one over on each other. Everyone's just trying to, cut corners and whatnot. It's good to just have healthy, good practices and behaviors going on between clubs, across leagues, whatever it is, what it is. So I don't mind that. Atalanta also have a really good track record of bringing good talent too. Like I said, we obviously got Højlund through their Ahmad. They brought Koopmeiners in from Eredivisie, who I think, is he still going to Juventus? I don't know if did he go to Juventus already? I can't remember. And then Scalvini, everybody was all about Scalvini last year. So they have a good track record of bringing in talent. So I think that's a good relationship to have. Again, just like the left back situation, it sounds like, that meeting we had early on in the week, where we were planning ahead, it sounds like this is more of that proactive, thinking a few windows ahead recruitment approach that, quite honestly, that's like the bare minimum for a club like Manchester United. That's the bare minimum of how recruitment and transfer strategy should work. But we're celebrating it because while it's the bare minimum for other clubs, it is such a triumph for us to get back to that point, because we haven't seen anything like that since, Sir Alex left, for sure. Under the old regime, it was like we waited till the transfer window opened to start making plans. We would chase one target at a time for weeks and weeks and weeks. And yeah, we spent money. We just didn't spend it well. And when you don't spend money well, that's what happens when you don't have a plan, when you don't go into things proactive, when you don't have multiple targets who are already been contacted, structure is already in place, personal terms might be agreed. You don't have a lot of those options. You're just scrambling, and other clubs know it. And so that's why we pay too much. Or we have. We're not now. We're ready to walk away from a lot of deals now. So a lot of changes that we've seen, which honestly, like I said before the transfer window opened, is probably going to make this one of the most important windows, is just starting to implement a healthier, like more professional structure. Fane says, I like to have 11 new players, but in one transfer will not happen. 2 more transfer markets, yes. 4 players, new update. Come next 5 years, 5 more. Yeah, we do. I mean, I've tried to be realistic. Obviously, I'll never not say like, yeah, we need like to this many players sign. I know it's probably not realistic. It's not going to happen. This ain't Chelsea, right? And I think that Chelsea have shown that that's definitely not the Chelsea are going to go down. Like if there was like a football management course, right, a textbook, Chelsea would be a whole chapter on what not to do right now for as far as how to build a club. It's so crazy. They're gonna be screwed. Rever, welcome back, bud. How you doing? It says at least CB we got good depth. Need a CM and left back. Yeah, we do need a CM for sure. We obviously probably need 2, because I think Eriksson needs to go. McTominay probably needs to go. So we'll probably need someone who can make up for them. Someone like an Amrabat or maybe like an Ederson as well. I think Amrabat could be ideal. He's good with that rotation role, that squad role. He knows the club already. He likes it here. He would not be expensive. So could be a good option. And then obviously Ugarte would probably come in and make up that 6 role. So we will see. Let me know your thoughts on Atalanta's Ederson. Obviously, we've been linked before. It sounds like he was a topic of discussion for United representatives this week. So Rever says Chelsea got 5 players in each position. Yeah, Chelsea, last time I looked, Chelsea had signed, like 35 first-team players in the last 2 years under Todd Boehly, and they had like close to 50 registered in their first-team squad. I don't know how they're allowed to register these players. If Barca can't register Dani Olmo and a couple other players that they've signed, like I don't know how Chelsea are able to do it. Maybe they'll just go sell another parking garage or a hotel or something to make up for it. I don't know. It's a little bit ridiculous, but they've spent way too much on some players. They have players who they're going to lose a lot of money on because how are you going to play that many players? I mean, they didn't even put Raheem Sterling in the matchday squad in the opening weekend of the league. So I don't know what the plan is there. We'll see what happens. But I mean, cook up some popcorn and just watch it all blow up in their face. Watching Chelsea do that is a spectator sport. Almost as fun as watching City fans try to defend and deflect from their 115 charges. So I think we should make that an Olympic sport. If breakdancing can be an Olympic sport, if skateboarding can be an Olympic sport, if kayak fishing is an Olympic sport, let's make watching City fans defend their club an Olympic sport. Get it going. Start the movement. Yeah, Rever, apparently Chelsea linked to Sancho. Yeah, I saw those links. We talked about that a little bit yesterday. We'll see. I mean, who haven't Chelsea been interested in? I mean, Sancho might be a little old for them, though. I mean, he's only, 24, 25? Yeah, they go for that Leo DiCaprio level stuff. So, Anu Arte, Irfane, we're still hard at work on that deal to bring Manuel Ugarte to United. It sounds like whether or not it's a loan or a straight transfer has a lot to do with whether or not we sell Scott McTominay. Chris Wheeler gave us a little bit of an update this morning. Says PSG, again, are open to that loan with an obligation to buy, but they still want 51 million pounds, which is roughly what they paid. We only want to pay 42 million, so about 9 million difference. I'm sure there's a compromise in the middle there somewhere, maybe with some add-ons, potential add-ons included. I just think we need to just get this done. Again, it's no point haggling over 4 or 5 million. Just get it done. Big clubs just get it done. It's not, this isn't a Harry Maguire thing where we're going to pay 85. Just get it done. Just do it. It's getting to that point with Scott McTominay now. Scott McTominay could have been a Fulham player had we just lowered our asking price a little bit. Now, I know I've said many times he's worth more than what Fulham offered, but at the same time, it becomes about priorities. Is it more of a priority to get that few 5 million and potentially build the squad with a better player? Is it more of a priority to dig your heels in and get that for McTominay, or else keep him here and not be able to strengthen? We saw that with Harry Maguire last summer when we wanted to get Kim Min-jae. We weren't able to buy any defenders. We ended up bringing Johnny Evans in for free because we just couldn't sell Harry Maguire. Most because we didn't want to pay him off, but because he was on high wages. But it's just, this is the situation we put ourselves in, and that wasn't Ineos last summer. That was because they weren't here yet. But still, this is a problem. Irfane says the big problem in Man United player on one, pay Man United in the transfer market all the time. Club come for a small bid. Aaron Wan-Bissaka, yeah. I mean, we're never going to make our money back on Aaron Wan-Bissaka because we overpaid for him. And obviously, when he's entering the final year of his contract, we want to improve. It becomes just, you're just going to have to get what you can and move him on. It isn't like McTominay where, McTominay represents 100% profit, or like a Mason Greenwood, that's profit. It just is what it is. And again, this is why I don't envy, people, sporting directors, managers, things like that, because these are big decisions that could, even the small decisions can have big ramifications. Like the saying I always use is, even pebbles make big ripples in a pond. So it's just, you never know what's going to happen. Rever says, next summer we should go for Wharton. Wow, what a player. Watch him closely this season. He's really good. Yeah, I like Adam Wharton a lot. If we're going for Ugarte, though, do we really need an Adam Wharton? We'll see. We got Collier coming through as well, as I keep having to be reminded of. Danny's always ready and willing to remind me that we've got Collier, because I always even forget about Toby Collier. Not because I don't rate him. It's just I only got so much room in my head, right? So it is what it is. But yeah, sounds like we're still haggling with PSG a little bit. There's about 8-9 million difference in what we're evaluating, and I'm sure that the compromise is going to happen before next weekend. I just wish it would have happened earlier, because we do need a midfielder. Obviously, Casemiro he's lost a bit of weight. He's come back fit. He looked really good in the first match of the season. Looked really good in like Community Shield. Casemiro's looked good in preseason. I've not hidden that, like he has, but that's not a reason to not sign a center midfielder. As Julian Laurens pointed out the other day, he thought that maybe we didn't need to spend money on Ugarte because Casemiro had a good first game of the season. Like, that's just not the way you do recruitment. We need another midfielder. We don't tend to buy defensive midfielders very frequently, and when we do, they're either old or they're just not great. We had Nemanja Matic when he was already old, and we kept him, and then we didn't really do anything after that for another couple of years. So is Casemiro on his last year? I think Casemiro has 2 years left on his contract, and I broke that down last week on how much we pay him in his wages, how much we would end up having to pay in his wages over 2 years versus how much we could realistically get for him. So go watch that video again to learn a little bit more about that, because I do think we need a midfielder. So some potential outgoings Yesterday, we discussed some news that came out regarding Hannibal Mejbri. Reportedly, Burnley were interested in signing him after they sold Sander Berge to Fulham. Remember that? So now David Anderson with the Mirror is reporting that Burnley will face competition from Leeds to sign Hannibal, another interesting suitor. So they could be going head-to-head for that signature. I saw reports yesterday that the rumored price was going to be between 10, 15 million for Hannibal. I think on its face that could be a good return for a player that's, still young. We haven't really done much with him. He's not really ever featured. He's not really impressed. So honestly, it's probably more than like I would have rated Kambwala higher than Hannibal, and we'd only got like 10 million for Kambwala. So I think though that because Hannibal, we didn't like raise him, right? We only signed him like 4 or 5 years ago from Monaco, I think it was, and that was for just around like £4.5 million. We paid Monaco for him with, I think, possible add-ons. So we'd probably make a little bit of profit, and then if we did complete the sale, we'd probably throw like a sell-on clause or something in there as well, which we tend to do. So could be a good. I mean, Hannibal needs to go play. I think that somewhere in the championship could be good for him. I think that the veteran players there, the endurance required, the physicality in the championship would be good for him. Like I said yesterday, I compared him to like a young horse who just needs to kind of get that energy and that feistiness kind of worked out of them, whether by like a rancher or just by just other older horses, I guess. But I think that'd be good for him. I think he won't get away with as much there as far as some of the reported behavioral issues that we've seen, and some of that feisty kind of leave a little bit on you attitude that he has, I think won't be tolerated, as not by like rules, but I think the veteran players and the other physical players in that league are probably just going to give it back. So could be good for him in the long run. So let me know what you think about Hannibal. Obviously, I think a lot of people forgot about Hannibal. He's been on loan for the last few years. Birmingham, I think, did well. Sevilla didn't work out as well. So Rever says Hannibal is surplus. Yeah, I think he's definitely not in the same category as Bruno Mount for me, at least their profile. He's definitely just more of a, just like a gets around. He's kind of like not a great version of Ander Herrera, I think. Just gets around, kind of just got a lot of energy, got a lot of energy to burn. And it's like my dogs when they don't get a walk. They just got a lot of energy. They get a little feisty, a little rambunctious. And it's hard for me to see what Hannibal brings. I haven't seen enough of him on the ball to see that he offers a lot in creativity wise. I just see that he just gets around, gets stuck in, tries to win the ball back. I mean, which is fine. It's kind of like McTominay. I need to see more, especially in midfield. So whatever happens, best of luck, Hannibal. It's nice to have academy players. Just like I said many times, not all of them are going to come through and perform. Not all of them are going to be your Rashfords, your Kobbie Mainoo guy kind of level. And so it is what it is. But he's not bad. He just, again, like McTominay, just not maybe what we need. So it is what it is. Another player who's might be heading out, this time on loan. This is our under-21 keeper, Radek Vitek. It looks like he'll be heading on loan this season, reportedly joining Austrian club. I'm going to try to pronounce this. Blau-Weiß Linz. I don't know. Gesundheit, right? It will be interesting to see how he does. He's 20, so he's a bit young in keeper age, right? Keepers and defenders kind of age a little slower. We'll see. The last young keeper we sent out on loan, we ended up selling, and he won a lot of trophies last year with Bayer Leverkusen. I'm talking about Matty Kovar, who I really, really like. He was stellar for Sparta Prague. I did a little bit of a scouting report on him over a year ago on what he was doing at Sparta Prague. Very good in the box, very good controlling his area, decent with his feet as well. I thought he was a very good keeper, and obviously he was really good with Leverkusen last year. I think we could have saved a lot of money by promoting him when we let go of David De Gea. Personally, I'm not saying I don't like Andre Onana. I'm just thinking that was an opportunity I think that we missed right there, and that's unfortunate. But it is what it is. Alas and alack, right? It is what it is. So we'll see how Vitek does on loan. But best of luck to him. Hopefully, I think we're used to having these keepers for so long. We had De Gea for so long, and now Andre Onana. Andre Onana is much older, right, than De Gea was when we bought him. So we're going to have to look at replacements in a couple of years already. Hopefully, we can get some of these academy keepers to come in and do bits. Can someone tell me, do we have a buyback option for Kovar? I don't know off the top of my head. But that would be nice. I wouldn't mind bringing him back if we had the option to, because I really rate Kovar a lot. So maybe there's an opportunity in a couple years after, Xabi Alonso goes to Madrid, and maybe a new manager comes in, and maybe in a couple years, if it's time to maybe look at Onana replacements, maybe we can go bring back Kovar. Rever says, Onana, I'm still not convinced yet, to be honest. We'll see. I mean, Onana's not bad. The issue with Onana is, so when we signed him, even before he kicked the ball for us, everyone was like, oh, we're only buying him because he can pass the ball. Like, that's not why we bought him. People just tend to take this correlation and they tend to make it the causation, right? Like, oh, they look at his passing stats, they look at his, and they think that's what's happened. No, Onana is a component of a system that builds out from the back. He's going to look bad when he doesn't have good defenders, and he's going to look better when he's got better defenders. I think that Onana does have a good pass, and I think he is good on the ball. I think we bought him for his composure when we're trying to build out from the back against the press. We've seen him send some of these attacking opponents into the stands with the way he can turn. He does kind of give us a bit of a heart attack now and then. We do pee a little bit when we see him kind of take a little chances in there. And yes, some of his passes go straight out of play. That's going to happen no matter who you are, though. I think what I'd like to see from Onana, though, is I like to see Ten Hag kind of urge him to look for that counterattacking long ball a little more often, look for that opportunity when it is. We've seen him that he can do it. He's picked out Garnacho and Rashford with pinpoint accuracy before on a counterattack. I'd like to see that more frequently. He and Dalot try to hook up on one of those long balls at least once a match. So I'd like to see us use that a little bit more when we're defending a set piece or something, and the entire opposition's in our area, and we recover the ball, and Onana's got it, and the counterattack is on. Throw it, kick it, get that. I like to see us do that a little more. Sometimes I feel like we make it too much of a point to start building out from the back, that everything slows down. So a little bit of discernment, a little bit of capitalizing on those moments wouldn't go amiss, in my opinion. But Onana, I think a lot of people are still kind of traumatized from the Champions League last year. I know I am. I was at the Galatasaray match at Old Trafford. I was literally parallel with Onana's goal when he and Casemiro had that slip up that led to that pen for Galatasaray, and I was probably about 10 rows up, so I was right there, and it was not pretty. The Old Trafford crowd was not happy that day, and I think that it is a big reason why we're not in Champions League. I'm not going to hold it against them, because if you cling to that kind of stuff, you're just going to be bitter. I mean, people still cling to De Gea costing us the Europa League final. Like, if your goalkeeper missing a penalty in a shootout is the reason you didn't win a Europa League final, then a lot of other stuff had to go wrong to get to that point over the course of that match. But it's easy to pick out one link in a chain of a series of events in a match over the course of a season and use that to blame. I just think that that's a bit lazy and a bit easy. So we'll see. I hear you, Rever. I mean, I think Onana does have to prove a little bit more. I think that he does have a bit of a shit. I'd like to see Onana kind of do what Casemiro did and maybe drop a little bit of weight. Not because he's fat. He's just muscular, right? And I think it makes him very, very stiff, very awkward when he's coming out to claim some of these crosses or when he's trying to dive to make saves. I think it's just a little slow, and I'd like to see him drop some of that, because muscle weighs more, right, than fat. So I'd like to see him drop a little bit of weight and then just make himself a little more flexible, a little more agile in the box, because he just looks awkward and kind of clumsy coming out for some of these. But we'll see what happens. I think that he does offer a bit of what Ten Hag wants, right? In the modern game, especially, you need a keeper who's better on the ball. But I've said it before, give me a keeper who can make a save over somebody who can pick a pass any day of the week. And I don't think that I'm alone in that. So I hear you, though. But good luck to Vitek on loan. A couple little odds and ends. So does someone want to tell me how Martin Odegaard gets into the PFA Team of the Year over Bruno Fernandes, by the way? What an absolute farce that was when I saw that yesterday. I guess it's about the closest Arsenal have been to winning a trophy in the last few years. So it kind of feels like, pity or charity in that case. But still, it's a joke. Bruno had more goals. They both had 18 goal contributions. Bruno had more goals, less assists than Odegaard, and he created more chances, and he won the FA Cup. I don't get how that even happens. It's just everybody needs to still twerk for Arteta somehow, even though he's literally a horrible manager. Even Arsenal fans, if you watch AFTV, Arsenal fans are even arguing about Unai Emery being a better manager than Mikel Arteta. Robbie's adamant that he's the second best manager in the league. He's not the second best. He hasn't won anything since his first season, and that wasn't even with his players. That was Unai Emery's players. He got 8th place, 5th place. He keeps bottling the league. And we keep getting these excuses that we're trusting the process, that it's a young team. Like, it's been a young team for 2 years now. They should be doing more. Ten Hag's won more than Arteta has. Ten Hag won more than Jurgen Klopp did in his first 2 seasons, but we're not going to have that conversation because Scousers ain't ready for it. But Arsenal fans, does it also hurt to know that if Real Madrid slid into Odegaard's DMs, he'd have his bags packed in 5 minutes and he'd drop you like third period French like that? Like, that's what I honestly think. But you let me know, Arsenal fans, how you feel about that, because you are disposable as a club and you're just a joke. It's always, what about us with Arsenal fans? And what's up with Pep Guardiola bringing Ilkay Gundogan back to City? Did you guys see that? Can you not win? Okay, like, it's easy to win the league at a canter without Gundogan, maybe, but you can't win anything else without him. Just like, the joke was, without Messi, Pep can't do anything. But that's Pep's MO, right? He needs the best players to win. That's just what he does. And he can when he's at a blank check clubs, when he changes his tactics every year and then completely shelves players that he just bought the year prior because he wants to try a new system and needs new players for it. City are happy to write him a check. He walks into stacked clubs. He uses that checkbook to build more, to get the players that he needs. And this is why Pep will never be in my discussion for one of the best managers, because he's never had to struggle. He's never had to struggle. He's all tactics, and he can only complete the tactics when he has the best players for it. Like, that's just plain and simple. He's never had to do that. And so, I mean, Fergie won a Champions League with Anderson in midfield. I like to see Pep do that. Pep buys players. He never even uses them. How often did Calvin Phillips play? How often does Mateus Nunes play? Like, he just goes through players and like a rich kid going through like cars that they don't like. Like, it's ridiculous. But again, that's why he's not one of the best managers for me. But let me know. And finally, if you guys have time this afternoon, go watch the Champions League qualifiers. They're like 3 p.m. my time. Check out Malmo. So Malmo play Sparta Prague today. I want you to look at Malmo's Swedish winger, Sebastian Nanasi. I've been watching this guy for a little while now. He's already got 6 goals, 9 assists in 17 league matches this season. He has 11 goals and 6 assists last season in the league, 12 and 8 in all comps. He's the top of the league for the Swedish league for assists right now and for assists created. He's a very good goal scorer, very good assist provider, chance creator. Keep an eye on him. Sebastian Nanasi, Swedish winger, plays from Malmo. He's a player that I think United really could do with. I think that he offers much more from wide positions than Sancho, than Antony, even than Rashford. I'm not saying he's better than Rashford. I think he offers more to what we're trying to do, create for some of these attackers, get more involved in the build-up. So keep an eye on that. If you do have the time, go watch Malmo's match against Sparta Prague today and keep an eye on the Nanasi for me. But that is going to do it. As always, I'm going to check on the latest and greatest news, see if anything has popped up since I've been live. Nope. Nothing new. Same old. Napoli want McTominay. PSG want loan with obligation to buy for Ugarte. So that's going to do it for me, you guys. Enjoy the rest of your day. If anything else does pop up today, I will, of course, be back to get your thoughts and share a few of my own. Until then, keep an eye out for the match preview video this weekend. I might be traveling this weekend, so if I am able to do the video, because it's not 100% sure, it might be from my phone or something, but we'll see. Like the video before you leave. Please subscribe to the channel if you are new, and I will see you guys on the next one. Later.